This is my hobby, the greatest hobby. Hello everyone, Hobbyist here. We are back at it again with our Talisman character exploration guide. Now previously we have covered the Scavenger and how he is adapted to the climate that is the Cataclysm Expansion. So let's go ahead and go on to the next character. Well, it's changing for the worse. I am changing for the better. No need for an introduction, I guess. So the character that we're going to be covering is in fact the Mutant. So let's go ahead and take a look at his character card here. As we can see, he's got a strength of 2 and a craft of 2, which is honestly pretty low if we're thinking as far as just base stats. As we can see here, much like the Scavenger, he has got a symbol right there. That is the symbol of the Cataclysm Expansion. So if you're not particularly interested in any of the components or materials that we talked about in that tutorial, or even with this main board, then being able to take a look at that particular logo is the best way to be able to differentiate. And it makes things probably the easiest when it comes to deciding your own adventure. But moving forward with the rest of the Mutant stat, Mutant has a fate of 3 and a life of 5. Again, that's pretty high, all things considered. Mutant is an evil character, starts in the forest, as well as only got 3 character abilities. So, going over this first character ability, well, this time, the Mutant starts with 4 craft, starts with 2 craft, additional craft on top of his base stats, and starts the game with 2 spells. Well, how did I just determine that out of nowhere? Well, in all actuality, it's because of the fact of whenever you begin the game, you roll 1 die to determine your starting bonus. So, out of this 1 in 6 chance that we have here, considering everything that the Mutant has available, rolling a 1 gives you 1 additional strength, an additional craft, an additional life, and an additional fate. Rolling a 2 gets you 2 additional strength and 2 additional life. Rolling a 3 gets you 2 additional craft and 2 additional fate. Rolling a 4 gives you 2 additional craft and 2 additional spells. Rolling a 5 gives you 2 strength and another boost to craft. And a 6 gives you 2 additional craft and 1 additional strength. And this is just for your starting position. So, the entirety of the Mutant's playstyle inside of the Cataclysm relies entirely on a dice roll. So, much like the Dark Cultist, but to a far bigger extreme, the Mutant is entirely resolved around chance. Do you feel lucky that you can potentially do good? Do you feel that you're very confident in the way that you roll the die? If so, this is the character that is honestly for you. Because this next character ability says at the start of your turn, if you have 2 or more life, you may lose 1 life to mutate. If you do, roll 2 dice. So with this one, on that particular roll, we gain 2 fate, giving us 7 fate in total. Much like the first ability, this ability is entirely revolved around chance at the cost of your health. You have 5 health for a reason. Because if you roll a 2, you lose a strength and a craft. You roll a 3, you lose a strength or a craft. Roll a 4, you lose an additional life. Roll a 5, you lose a fate. Roll a 6 or a 7, you heal 1 life and you replenish your fate. Roll an 8, you gain 2 fate. Roll a 9, you gain 2 lives. A 10, you gain a strength. An 11, you gain craft. And a 12, you gain a strength and a craft. So, with all of this complicated charting on the mutant, why would you want to necessarily be taking the chance with the mutant? Well, if you are lucky and you manage to use your fate whenever you deem it appropriate, you could potentially become the most dangerous character inside of the Cataclysm Expansion, and probably one of the most dangerous characters in the entirety of Talisman. However, when it comes to my personal preference, with just these first two abilities alone, I think the mutant's too big of a risk, considering that you have to lose health in order to mutate, and you could do this for as long as you have a minimum of 2 health left. But like I said, you are risking your health in order to gain stats that may or may not work for you. So that is definitely something to take into consideration. With this third character ability, says, if you would be turned into a slimy little toad, you may cancel the effect and lose 1 life instead. So that's honestly fantastic. You're immune to being able to be turned into a toad, and you can have a variety of possibilities when it comes to your starting capabilities. But like I said, do you really want to be risking health in order to potentially get a boost? Like I said earlier, it is entirely dependent on how confident are you in your ability to roll dice. Because with the Dark Cultist, and being able to pray for the forces of darkness, it's some sort of chance, but it's not necessarily to where it is entirely reliant on your dice roll. But with the mutant, the problem that I have with him is that he's too reliant on the dice. And that he has nothing for himself that is immediately out of the gate, or that is immediately leaving an impression to where it becomes useful. He could gain spells at the beginning of his turn, but he's not a spell cycler. He doesn't have any objects that he starts with. He doesn't do anything in regards to anything that could be proving fruitful in the long term. He is a snowballing character, probably to the most extreme of lengths. So, if you're playing with the Cataclysm characters for the first time, I honestly would stay away from the mutant, because you just have too much risk than you do rewards. And if we're ranking the Cataclysm characters, he's honestly the character that I would put at the bottom. So, other than that, I apologize for making this video a lot shorter than it needed to be, but I kind of wanted to go on my little rant here. Because sure, he starts the forest. Right in front of the forest is the Woodlands expansion. 2 spaces over is the Dungeon expansion. That's kind of great if you want to be able to go to those areas. But as far as your personal playstyle inside of the Cataclysm board, or just inside of Talisman in general, I think he's too high risk to play with. Other than that, see you guys in the next one.